Greetings, and welcome to another edition of Community Chest. I'm your host, Felix Milan, and today I would like to welcome two very important guests from the Kingsview Christian School in North Bend. I have here a man who wears many different hats. Some may know him as the mayor of North Bend, Rick Wetherall. And I also have one parent who has children there at Kingsview. Her name is Susanne Beaulieu. Hello, and I welcome you both to the show today.
Good morning.
Mr. Wetherall, I'll start with you first, and if you could please tell me what you do at the school there and how long you've been there.
Okay. I came to Kingsview Christian School in 2005, which would make, I'm just finishing my 4th year at the school. It might be simpler to tell you what I don't do there than it is what I do there. I am called the administrator, but I'm also the custodian, the guidance counselor, the groundskeeper, the teacher, the number 1 substitute at the school. So it's a multitasking situation at Kingsview.
I see. So you teach multiple of types of classes to the students there, from English to...
Oh, we have a full range. I just teach them on the days that I substitute. We have a full staff that goes from preschool all the way to the 8th grade right now. And of course, when a teacher is not with us, then I am with us. So I step forward and do whatever's necessary at that time.
I see. Now, this is a show about nonprofit organizations primarily and what
Sure.
they provide to our community,
Sure.
and what our community can provide to them as well. It came to my attention that Kingsview is actually a nonprofit school.
Yes, it is.
Could you please explain to our viewers the difference between a private nonprofit school and a private for-profit school?
Well, a private school has nothing to do with the federal, state, or local government. The Kingsview is a religious school, which is backed by the Bay Area Church of the Nazarene. And in that, since they have nonprofit status, that extends to the school, and so therefore we become a nonprofit. The difference between a public school and a private school, I think, or a nonprofit school, is that we have the opportunity to make some choices that the public schools do not. Those who receive public money also receive with that some direction and statutes to follow that we can choose to or not choose to follow. But again, we're all involved in the same business, and that's education of young people. We follow every rule in the state regard to education, with except perhaps the one of mentioning Jesus on many occasions.
I see. So when you say that you were established by the Bay Area Church of the Nazarene,
yes.
Is that a curriculum that you follow there, or is it pretty much a non-denominational type approach?
That's a good point. Even though we are located and would not exist without the Bay Area Church of the Nazarene, we do not have Nazarene doctrine. We are an interdenominational church, and within that grouping we teach the Bible and Jesus, but not any particular brand of religion in that matter.
And the school was established in 1979, is that correct?
Yes, it was.
So this would be like your 30th?
30th, yes.
And did you do any type of celebration?
We did not. They had a huge celebration for their 25th, but we did not have a celebration this particular year.
According to different types of websites that talk about your school, I found that you start at pre-K and could go all the way to 12th grade.
It could, yes.
Okay, does that change on a regular basis? Or?
No, at one time they went pre-K to 12th grade, and we went away from the high school curriculum because as the state, through the auspices of No Child Left Behind, started being more rigorous in their demands and their requirements, we found that it was difficult for Kingsview at a small school nature to maintain that situation where we are not equipped to do an adequate job teaching chemistry and physics and calculus and those type of things. We therefore have gone to K through 8. So it doesn't change. We were at one time, they began as a K through 8. They went to a K through 12 for a 4, 5, 6 years, well, probably more than that, 8 or 9 years. And now we are back to K through 8. And we find that that's much more a simpler thing for us to achieve, rather than, because to diversify at the high school level takes a lot of different types of training and teachers with certain expertise.
Resources too, I'm sure.
Resources also, yes, right.
So you're able to focus and do what you do better by keep narrowing it down between K through 8.
Absolutely.
I see. I also saw that it appears you have a student-to-teacher ratio from 13.4, around 13% to 15%.
Right.
Explain why that's important for the students and the parents.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And when people talk to me about both, I am not anti-publication. I mean public education. I would hate to think I spent 40 years of my life in something that wasn't adequate. However, at Kingsview, we're used to not having a great deal of monetary support, and so we're limited to 12. I think we're averaging about 12 per class at this particular point, and that gives us so many great opportunities. And as times get tighter and budgets for public schools get more difficult, their numbers are increasing, and in a sense, that same economy has an effect on our population also. But yes, that's the main thing. We have time to know the kids. I like to say I can have the whole 5th grade in my classroom in 3 minutes, and oftentimes I do. But so that is, and it gives more time for individual teacher attention. We also have the support of our parents who are paying for their children to go to our school, and they are much more involved than I found in the 40 years I was in public education, and with that it makes a lot better situation for the student and for the parent.
I see. How many students did you have here at the end of the school year 2008-2009? We
began in September with 134, and we ended at the end of May with 134. So, and that with not always the same bodies, but and. Like I say, private education has been hit pretty severely in the economic downturn, and most schools are losing up to 33% of their students, and we feel very fortunate and well supported that we began with 134 and ended with 134. However, that's down somewhat from previous years. We've dropped about, we had 140, 145. But now we're down to 134, but that seems to be remaining consistent.
What do you attribute that to, the lack of attrition over the course of the year?
Well, I think it has a couple possibilities. One is that the economy we've already been through the Great Recession, or whatever they're calling this situation we're in right now. Our area has been. And so our people have learned to live within those limited means. Whereas, you know, in larger cities in different areas, like in the Detroit area where they have mass layoffs and their population affected immediately, we have people who have adjusted to the recession. Sometimes it's great to live in Coos County just for those reasons. But so I attribute it to the fact that our economy hasn't changed greatly, even though the national economy has changed a great deal, mostly to the negative.
I would think, too, that the quality of education would say something for the lack of attrition there at Kingsview. For instance, you are